let's take a look at this Word worksheet number 1. And with this worksheet, we're just going to be looking at some basic formatting options in word processing. So for this course, since everything's got to be online, I'm using Google Docs, which is a decent word processor. It's not the best. The top of the line right now is Microsoft Word, which I couldn't be guaranteed everybody would have access to. So to go with the guarantee on this, we are using Google Docs. So as you open the file, this is what you should see right here. Now, I know that there's not a whole lot of direction on here because I'm doing the video. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with this little issue, this little problem right here. We are going to adjust the margins on this page instead of being a large margin to be 1 inch all the way around. Now, when I say margin, this is what I mean. The margin is the space between the edge of the typing and the edge of the paper. In Google Docs, this is how you adjust margins. Now you want to make sure your cursor is in the paragraph that you're messing with. You don't have to necessarily highlight the paragraph or anything. Just make sure your cursor is in the paragraph. And then you're going to go up here to File and down here to Page Setup. Right here, we've got a bunch of options. What we're interested in is the margins. Our top is already an inch. Our bottom is already an inch. So we're just going to put the left margin on 1 inch and the right margin on 1 inch. And then click OK. Boom. Now, so notice that I've got a 1 inch margin all the way around. That looks pretty good. Also notice that you can set up pretty much any kind of margin you want. Like we just talked about, you can have it print all the way to the edge of the page if you like, even though your printer won't like it. But you could do a more narrow margin. You could do a 1/2 inch margin all the way around. Probably get away with that. Or if you were doing some kind of booklet where you had to staple the edge, you could put a heavy margin on the left or the right, depending on where you need it to be. So anyways, there you have margins in Google Docs. Next one. On this one, we are going to separate these two paragraphs. Now, when I see students do this, it doesn't matter whether they're high school students or even some of my college students, when I see students do this whole separate paragraphs or put something onto the next page, this is what I see them do. They just hit enter until it gets all the way to the bottom, and then they're good with that. Which, to tell you the truth, if you were to print this right now, it would print just fine. You'd get away with that, which I think is why a lot of people do it. But think about this for a second. Let's say that this part down here was like a reference page or a bibliography. Okay, and the thing about a reference page or bibliography is it's supposed to start at the top of its own page. Always. It's not halfway down the page. It's not on the previous page. It starts at the top of its own page. So pretend that this is a reference page. Then if that was a reference page, that means that this part up here is a research report. Okay, so you go ahead, you turn in the research report to your English teacher or whatever, whoever wants it, right? And they say, oh, this is pretty good, except from here to here is pretty much junk. You should get rid of that. And you're like, sweet, this is a word processor. I'll just get rid of it. But then when you look down here, notice what happened to our reference page. It is not at the top of its own page anymore. So then I see students do this. They get back in there, they put in some more enters. They get it back to normal. But then they go to turn in their next draft, and their English teacher is like, okay, so I said that that part was junk, but this is not long enough now. Like, you need more. This is supposed to be 200 words. This is not 200 words. So you go ahead, you type some more. Now look what happened to your reference page down at the bottom. Not at the top of its own page anymore, is it? So why does this bottom paragraph keep moving? Okay, here's why. And to figure this out, I usually just highlight the area because you can tell a lot of stuff about a word processing document by highlighting, because technically speaking, only the typing highlights. So what is this typing that's down the left here? Yeah, those are enters right there. So this paragraph keeps moving basically because you told it to. This chain of enters means that you want the computer to attach or link the bottom of this paragraph with the top of that paragraph. It's doing exactly what you told it to do, okay, even though you don't believe that's the truth. But there is a better way. Instead of hitting enter 47 times, I'm just going to enter page break, which, to tell you the truth, is way faster than the 47 enters in the first place. So to do that, I just put my cursor right where I want the new paragraph to start. It's right there, right in front of Ben Franklin. And I just go up here to insert, down here to break, and tell it you want a page break. Boom, done. Now notice when I highlight the area, I can highlight all the way down to that other paragraph, and notice there's no chain of enters. It just goes and it's got a break in it. It just breaks right there. Okay, by the way, that's actually what I do when I grade these. I just highlight the area and I look for that. If I see a string of enters down the left, I know you didn't do it right. But also notice, let's say you turn this in, back to our reference page example. Let's say you go to turn this in and your teacher says from there to there is garbage, so you delete it. Notice what happened to my reference page. It didn't move. So then you turn this in again and your teacher's like, but it's not long enough. So you're like, oh, I'll add some more. And then notice what happened to your reference page. Didn't move, still at the top of its own page. That's page break. And notice how much faster it was than punching that enter 47 times and then having to rearrange it every time you made an edit or a change to your document. In this next part, we are going to adjust the text size, the font face, font style, that kind of stuff. And most of you have probably done this already, but you might learn a couple of tricks here. Let's see. Let's say we want to put this in size 10, just like it says. There's a couple of ways you can do that. The first way in Google Docs is you can just go up here to this drop-down menu, put it on 10. That's probably the easiest way here. And that works pretty good. It's just right here, put it on 14, whatever you want. If you know exactly what size you want, you can actually come up here and just click and type it in. You don't have to go through the menu. Here's where typing it in makes a big difference. Notice that my menu goes from 60 to 72 to 96. What if like size 72 is too big, 60 is too small? What if you need like size 65? Yeah, you just go up here and you just type it in. Size 65, there it is. Also, what if you need sizes bigger than 96? Can we do that? Well, there's size 100. There's size 400. Apparently that's as big as Google Docs goes. Pretty good size 400 type. Anyways, when I grade this, I expect it to look like this, kind of three-dimensional looking, 10, 14, 20, 36, shouldn't be that big a deal. So down here, we've got our font faces, sometimes they call it, or sometimes they just call it font. So I can just go through, I can put those on whatever font I want them to be on. And it helps here to highlight the fonts before you go to click on them. You can, in fact, go to more fonts. You can find just literally all kinds of fonts, which I'm not really making you do for this worksheet. I just kept these, the fonts that are actually in the menu here. So once you find them, get them all in there. That'll be good enough. Notice that I've got them organized a little bit. Some professional ones over here, some more fun ones kind of on the right. I don't know. That's just to kind of help you know what to use in a professional situation. Now, the text style. Most of you have done probably most of this. So let's say I want to underline this. I can just use this button right here. I can bold this right here. I can do some italics, same kind of deal. I can actually turn on two of those at once. That doesn't hurt the computer's feeling at all. I can turn on all three if I want. Probably most people here have done that before, know how to do that. But here's a couple that are a little bit harder to find. Let's say you want to put something in Superscript. On this word processor, there is no button up here for Superscript. So to get to it, you would go up here to Format, you would go to Text, and there it is, Superscript. You click it and notice what that does. It makes the text that you highlighted smaller and puts it up at the top of the line. Subscript does kind of the same thing, except puts it down at the bottom of the line. So you go to Format, Text, Subscript. Here's Strike Through, same deal. Format, Text, Strike Through. All caps is even in there. Format, Text, and there's your capitalization. Put it in all uppercase. If you put it in all uppercase, that's all caps. Didn't have to retype it. Got it in all capital letters. Works great. So, using our new skills, we're going to impress our science and our math teachers down here a little bit. We're just going to take these examples that are on the left, we're going to type them on the right. Now, I can tell you that the easiest way to do this is to type the whole thing first. Okay, so I'm going to type water equals capital H2 capital O. And then I am going to just grab the number that needs to be changed, and that's just this 2 needs to be put in subscript. And there I have H2O. Same thing with caffeine. Caffeine equals C8H10N4O2. You need all the letters of the alphabet capitalized. You need all the numbers put in subscript. And you'll notice that I'm not using hotkeys, even though there are hotkeys listed over here. If you want to get into those, go ahead and get into those. I just want to teach people how to find stuff. Because once you know what stuff is and know what it's called and how to do it, basically you can find it on other word processors. A lot of this stuff transfers directly across to Microsoft Word, which is good because in the business world, 80% of the business world uses Microsoft Word. Okay? Now, to impress your math teacher, or at least to do some exponents, gigabyte equals 10 to the 9 bytes. Type the whole thing first, grab just the one you want to change, and then put that in Superscript. Same thing with terabyte. Terabyte equals 10 to the 12 bytes. Just grab the numbers you want to change, put them in Superscript. There you have it. Next, we're going to mess with font color and background color. Your buttons for that are right here. There's text color, there's highlight color. That's what we're talking about. So this one right here wants to be white text with a black background. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the text color on white. Makes it look kind of like it disappeared. Okay, but I'm going to put the background on black. Bam, there it is, white text with a black background. Red text with a blue background. Red text with green background. So just go through here, change all those over to what they say they want to be. You might have to pause the video right here, get this done. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm moving on. Going to mess with capitalization. I'm going to put this sentence in lowercase. So I'm going to go up here to Format, Text, Capitalization, boom, lowercase. This one I'm going to do uppercase. And the last one I'm going to do what they call title case. So that worked pretty good. On to the next one. This one we are going to mess with what they call text alignment. Now that's whether the text is on the left, or the right, or the center. There's actually a fourth one that's called justify. I mean, we'll show you what justify does here real quickly. That's justify right there. Justify only works when you have a full, like multiple line paragraph. Because you notice we're going to mess with this paragraph. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this paragraph right here, notice that the left-hand side lines up nice and neat. The right-hand side's all crookedy. If I am in this paragraph, you don't really have to highlight it, but I like so we can see what's going on. And I go here and I click the justify button. it stretches the words out just enough so that the left-hand margin, nice and straight, and the right-hand margin, nice and straight. Now, in academic writing, we don't use this a whole lot. You do see full justification in stuff like magazines, newspapers, sometimes in novels, sometimes not. So that's justify. Sometimes they call that full justification. So don't let that confuse you if you see that. Anyways, up here, these you basically just use these buttons right here to put them where they say they want to go. So that one goes on the left, that one goes on the right, the left, the right. You just crank down through there and you put them where they say they want to go. Should be pretty simple. Notice when I highlight that what it looks like. Nice and clean. Only the typing highlights. It looks good. Now, let's say a friend comes to you because now they know that you're pretty good at word processing and stuff because you've had this class and you've messed with stuff a lot, and they want you to help fix this. This one was typed incorrectly. So when I go to put this on the left, you notice it's already on the left. So when I click the left alignment button, nothing happens at all. So since this looks like it's in the center, but says it wants to be on the left, like how did it get in the center if it's on the left? I mean, the computer thinks it's on the left. How did that happen? Well, that happened because of these spaces. And like I said, if you want to know what's going on kind of in the background of the word processor, you just highlight the area. Look at all that junk in there. So to fix this, what do you got to do? You got to get rid of the junk. And this is a little bit tedious. Sorry. Be careful. Don't delete too much. If you do delete too much, remember Control Z is your best friend. That's the hotkey for undo. Or you can go hit undo. Right there is undo. If you can't remember where the garbage is, just highlight it. The computer will tell you where it is. Just go through there, make sure you got it all cleaned up. All the garbage is gone. You'll know you've got it all cleaned up when you can do this. It's all nice and clean, only the typing highlights. Then you can go through and you can put stuff where it says it wants to be. So that one on the right, that one on the right, center, right, left, center, left, center. Highlight it, looks nice and clean. When I grade this, that's exactly what I do. I highlight it. I check to make sure there's 4 on the left, 4 in the center, 4 on the right. If everything looks like it's where it belongs, but I highlight it and it's not clean, it doesn't highlight clean like this, I know you didn't do it right. Because like we just saw, you can get stuff in the right place, but by doing the wrong technique. Next one. Now we're going to mess with what they call line spacing. This is where your teacher tells you they want a double space, triple space, single space, whatever spacing they want. Okay, so this paragraph right now happens to be single spaced. We're going to make it double spaced. So I'm just going to click in there. You don't have to highlight it. I'm going to go here to the line spacing. It's this button right here. Open that up. It's on single. I want to put it on double. Bam, double spacing. Now, watch what this looks like when you highlight it. Notice that it considers the space underneath the typing as part of the typing. Because remember, only the typing highlights. So let's take a look at this next example. As usual, this is my example of what if a friend came to you, needed some help, because they knew you were good at word processing, and it was typed funky. You got to figure out what was going on, clean up the funky type, and then fix it. So let's highlight this. Looks a little bit different. Looks like it's double spaced, but this doesn't look right. Instructions say to put it in single space. So I click in here like I did before, and I go to put this in single space, and the computer already thinks it's in single space. Let's highlight that again. What's going on here? If this is single spaced, how does it look double spaced? Yeah, did you see this? Those are enters. That means when this was typed, the typist got to the end of the line and just hit enter twice and started typing again, which causes all kinds of problems. So, how to fix this? Now, I have a lot of students that fix this by just backing this up till it looks normal. See how that looks normal? But it's not, because watch what happens. If I put my cursor in here and I go to put this on double space, notice how only one line changed. That's because these are still separate paragraphs, because right here at the end of the line, there's still an enter. Probably didn't know that, but computers use the enter key to decide where paragraphs start and stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this up until it touches. Now I know there's no enter in there, there's nothing in there, but there should be a space in there, but there was not originally a space put in there. It was just an enter. So in order to get what I want, I've got to do the space by myself. The computer remembers everything. So I go ahead and I put in a space, and then I back this up until it touches, I put in a space. I back this up until it touches. Then I put in a space. I'm going to back this up till it touches, put in a space, and I'm even going to back up this last one till it touches, put in a space. Now notice I put my cursor in there, and I go to the line spacing, put it on double. See how it changes the whole paragraph? That is actually what I do when I grade it. I want to see it single space, nice and clean. But in order for me to know if you got rid of all of the extra enters and made this one paragraph again, instead of multiple one-line paragraphs, I need to put my cursor in here, doesn't matter where, and I go up to here and I punch it on double, and that tells me whether you did it right or not. If that whole thing moves, I know you did it right. Now, that's about it for word worksheet number 1. If you look below, you'll notice there's some independent practice. This is more stuff, just basically what we already did. Okay, you're showing me you were paying attention. The very last part of this is a letter that's being written. It's just a letter I made up. Okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to use any of the skills that we just learned to make this letter look nicer, because right now it doesn't look that fantastic. Okay, so independent practice, just go through here, do these, what it says. We just did it before, so it should be easy for you. And then use your skills to dress up this letter a little bit, make it look nice. Once you're done with all of that, go ahead and turn it in. Okay, that's about it for word worksheet number 1. Thanks for watching.